What if I told you that you could become an investor for as little as 3.5% down? Have you been thinking that you want to make a savvy move, whether you're a first time investor or a first time home buyer? You have been thinking that, being a landlord would be a great way to build a retirement plan or, you know, um, have an extra income stream. My name is Amy DeBusk, and I am a certified mortgage planner. And today I want to talk to you about being a first time investor and how you can do that without having to put 25% down. Many people don't have that kind of money laying around for a down payment. That's a big chunk of money, right? So, the number one way that you can become a first time investor as a first time home buyer is to buy a multifamily property. So, in the residential lending world, as a first time home buyer, you can buy a duplex, which is a 2 unit, a triplex, which is a 3 unit, or up to a fourplex, and still reap the benefits of the first time homebuyer programs such as FHA with only 3.5% down, or if it's a conventional loan, it would be a minimum down payment of 5% down, which that is actually a new rule that Fannie Mae came up with within the last year or so. It used to be that you would have to put 25% down if you were doing a conventional financing loan on a multifamily home as a primary residence. So it's really cool because a lot of properties in the multifamily arena definitely need a conventional loan. So, just to touch on that a little bit, a conventional loan is more friendly when it comes to an older home that maybe needs a little bit of work than an FHA loan is. So now you, as a first time home buyer, can buy a multifamily home on a conventional loan for as little as 5% down. Now, if the property does allow for FHA financing, you could get into that property for as little as 3.5% down. So the one thing as a first-time home buyer buying a multifamily unit, you cannot take advantage of any down payment assistance programs with a multifamily property. So you do have to have either a gift from a family member or a close friend for the down payment, or you need to have it come from your savings, or you could borrow against your retirement. If you have 401k money, you could use that for a down payment on a multifamily unit. So that's number one. So big, you do have to have a down payment. So there's no down payment assistance on a multifamily purchase. But what's so cool, if you buy a multifamily as a first time home buyer, you're going to walk in to being a first time investor, which means that you're going to be a landlord to whoever is renting the other unit that is on the property. And so, you know, there's lots of ways to handle that. You could hire a landlord, but since you are going to be living on one side of the property, might be easy for you to just be the landlord and cut your teeth at, collecting rent every month and doing those repairs whenever needed. So, one of the benefits of being a first time homebuyer and a first time investor buying a multifamily unit as a first time home buyer, the rents on the other unit or units can go to help you qualify for the mortgage. There is a stipulation on that though. So if you are a first time home buyer and you're buying a multifamily unit, in order to use the rents on the other side to help you qualify, you need to have had a history of paying rent yourself. So if you're coming straight from your parents' house and you've never paid rent before, maybe you've been living rent free somewhere for a long time, we would not be able to use the rents that you'd be receiving on the other side of the unit to help you qualify. Now, it doesn't mean that you won't be able to get those rents. Of course, you'll be getting the rents, reaping all the benefits. It's just that you'll have to qualify for the home mortgage on your own if we don't see a track record of you paying rent in the past. But if you have paid rent in the past, we can absolutely use the rents on the other unit to help you qualify. And we will need to verify that with the current tenant and the current rental agreement that they have in place with the seller that's selling you the multi-unit property. And then we'll also do what's called it's a rental survey. So it's an additional document that the appraiser is going to do, in addition to the appraisal, which makes sure that the home is worth what you're paying for it. In addition to that, we're going to do what's called a rental survey. So a rental survey is where the appraiser is going to go out and see what else is renting in the area that's similar and make sure that whatever they're paying in rents is accurate, and whatever it is the going rent. Okay, so that is that scenario. um, One thing I want to tell you about, multi-units. So you can, if it's a residential multi-unit property, it's a 2 unit, a 3 unit, or a 4 unit. Anything over 4 units is considered commercial properties, and that is a completely different type of loan. And you cannot use a residential home loan to buy a commercial property. You have to actually get a commercial loan, which is a completely different loan and a different video. So, um, that would be like strategy number one. If you want to go right out the gate as a first time home buyer, buying a home for yourself, and also, being that first time investor. I want to say that this is probably the only time in your real estate career that you would be able to buy a multifamily property as your owner occupied property. And well, let me tell you why. So, in the eyes of an underwriter, occupancy matters, and it's a big deal to make sure that whoever's buying the house is going to occupy that house. And so let's say you live in a really nice house and you've been reaping the benefits of living in a, 2500 square foot single family residence with a swimming pool, and then all of a sudden you're like, I think I want to sell, or I think I want to turn that into a rental property and buy a duplex, and I'm going to live on one side. In the eyes of an underwriter, they're going to raise an eyebrow to that because they're not going to believe that you would actually want to do that. So there's going to be a lot of questions as to what your motivation would be to come out of being living in a nice single family residence, having all the privacy, and going into buying a duplex where you're living on one side. That raises eyebrows, and that makes an underwriter think, well, gosh, are they really going to live there, or are they just trying to do this to get the low down payment? So that's why I say, as a first time home buyer, it may be your only shot at buying a duplex, triplex, or fourplex for that minimum down payment. If it's FHA, it'd be only 3.5% down. And if it's conventional, it'd be 5% down. That might be your only chance in your career of owning real estate to, get into a multifamily for as little as 3.5% or 5% down. In the future, when you own other real estate, the underwriter will be probably viewing that as, okay, they're buying that as an investment property. And so when you buy a multifamily as an investment property, that is where we have to put 25% down. So that in a nutshell is option number one for somebody to become an investor without putting 25% down. The second way would be if you already own a home and you're wanting to buy up and you're wanting to turn your house into a rental property and then buy another house to live in. So that would be another example of you being able to become an investor without having to put 25% down and being able to leverage what you have already in the home that you're living now, and then buying another house. So you could maybe even pull a little bit of equity out of the house that you're buying, or that you're living in, that you own, for the down payment on the new house, and then turn your house into a rental property. And what's cool about that scenario is that we can also use the upcoming rents that you're going to be receiving from the house that you're turning into a rental property. We can use those rents to help you qualify for the next house. The only difference on that is, and this is for both scenarios that I'm talking about today. So when you're um, a first time investor, they don't let you use the rents as income. They only let you use the rents to offset the mortgage to help you qualify. So if, for some reason your mortgage that we were turning into a rental property was only $1,000 a month, and let's say you lived in a really nice house and you were going to get $5,000 a month in rents, which would be amazing, we're only able to offset that $1,000 mortgage payment. We're not able to give you that income for that $4,000. And it's not, when we offset that $1,000 with the rents, we are not able to offset the entire $1,000 in your debts with the rents. It would only be up to 75%. So that's kind of getting in the weeds, maybe a little bit more than you bargained for in this video. But I wanted to explain that so you can kind of get your head around, how you would qualify. Definitely, when you turn your house into a rental property and you buy another house, it is easier to income qualify because you're going to be using some of those rents to offset the mortgage. I will say though, if you have been a landlord in the past, maybe you've had experience in, maybe you own another investment property, or had experience being an investor in the past. If you have at least 1 year experience, that's when we can use the upcoming rents to offset the mortgage and give you some rental income to help you qualify. So that then we can use the income if you have actual landlord experience. So, one thing you might want to take advantage of as a first time investor would be a property manager. You might want to put that in your line item as one of the costs that you're going to be incurring as a landlord. It might take the heat off of you being a first time investor, not always knowing who to rent your house out to, doing the credit checks and then managing it. So, if you don't want to be the one that's getting that call late at night when, you've got a leaky faucet, a property manager would be a great resource for you and might be a great solution. So, those are the two ways that you can become an investor without putting 25% down. If you are buying an investment property for the first time and you're not turning your house into a rental property, and you're not a first time home buyer buying a multifamily unit, the minimum down payment requirement is typically 25% down. And if you're a first time investor buying an investment property for the first time as a long term rental, we will not be able to use the future rents to offset any of the mortgage to help you qualify. So you got to go cold turkey. You really got to qualify for the whole mortgage, and you got to put 25% down if you're a first time investor and you're not doing what I explained just a minute ago with being a first time home buyer as an investor or turning your house into a rental property. So That is, in a nutshell, the ways to become a first time investor. I would love to tell you that we have this amazing tool at Amy DeBusk Home Loans, powered by American Pacific Mortgage. We have an amazing tool where we can plug in all the numbers. You give us a property address, and then we'll come up with about where we think the rents are going to be, and we'll give you your return on investment, long term, short term, and plug all the numbers in for you and let you know if that looks like it would be a good investment and a good move for you. You can reach me through booking appointment, talkingwithamy.com, and we look forward to helping you in the future. And I'm wishing you a very happy weekend and a wonderful Friday.